It's inevitable that in Major League Baseball, some teams are going to be in different situations than other teams, and today I wanted to talk about the 5 worst situations of MLB teams going into 2026. At the time of recording this video, it's Monday, so it's the start of the winter meetings, so who knows, maybe something big will happen during winter meetings and will change my opinion on these franchises. But as of right now, these are the 5 worst situations in baseball. And for the first time in a long time, the Sacramento Athletics and Pittsburgh Pirates are not going to be on this list. These are 2 teams that are actually on the rise, and I'm happy that they're starting to maybe spend some money and trying to start to win again. It's cool to see. So those 2 teams, they're not going to be on this. Some of these teams have bad current days, some of them have bad future days, and some of them have bad everything, but we'll get into it. Let's start out with the list, and I'm going to be starting out with the San Diego Padres. I'm disappointed that the Padres have to be placed on this list, but they absolutely have to be. The franchise is currently up for sale after the unfortunate passing of Peter Seidler, and since then, everything has been downhill for the Padres. It is going to be very difficult for the Padres to sell this franchise as well, and that is the most important thing for this franchise because the current owners that are part of Peter Seidler's family do not have the best interests for the organization in mind. But again, it's going to be very hard to sell this team with the amount of guaranteed money that is going out to players that are aging rapidly. I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a minute. But first off, the current management is going to sign no one. They do not want to add more money to the payroll because then it will be even harder to sell the team. They need to kind of live off of the scraps in free agency in the trade market, and with a roster that's already pretty flawed, it really feels like their window has rapidly closed. The farm system or the prospects are also the worst in baseball, and it's by a lot. Ethan Salas is the only type of prospect that has potential in the system, and he's fallen off a cliff too recently compared to when he was this high school phenom catcher. This is kind of how AJ Preller and the Padres just operate. They trade away all of their talented prospects like Leo DeVries last trade deadline, and it's really biting them now that they're not going to be able to spend money like they were doing with Peter Seidler. Anyway, going back to spending money, oh my god, the underwater contracts are just so bad. The guaranteed contracts in 2031, and mind you, that's 6 years from now, is $122 million that is guaranteed to players. Even the Los Angeles Dodgers, who everyone says is breaking baseball because they're spending so much money, they're only at $97 million in 2031, and they're second place by quite a bit. The Padres are way ahead of them. And in 2033, that's 8 years from now, it's the same exact amount. Manny Machado would be 41 years old in 2033, and he's going to be making $40 million that year. Fernando Tatis Jr. would be 35, making $36 million. Bogaerts is going to be 41, making $28 million, and Jackson Merrill isn't as much of a problem because he'll only be 31, making $21 million, but still, that is so much money that's being put into 4 players, and 4 players that are going to be old. For 2026, the Padres are already at about $230 million against the luxury tax threshold, and they have no starting pitching, literally none, apart from Nick Pivetta, who today, it's been rumored, they're kind of shopping him, even though he's only making not that much money. They don't have any other pitchers. Yu Darvish is out for the season, and Joe Musgrove is coming off of a major injury. Who knows what he'll give you. They have an insane bullpen still, but they lost their closer in Robert Suarez, and one of the talented pitchers that they do have in Mason Miller, they're trying to convert him to a starting pitcher because they don't have any of those. I don't know, the offense too, there's just a lot of holes here outside of the superstars that are making a ton of money, and they're not going to address those holes because they don't have more money to spend. This is one of the worst situations in baseball, if not the worst situation over the next 10 years. But at least Petco Park is a top 5 ballpark in the league, and San Diego is a great place to live and play baseball in. You know who else is in a bottom 5 situation of all people on the entire planet? The people that aren't subscribed to my channel, because they're not gonna see videos like this hit their sub box, and that's not great for anyone. 95% of my viewers are in a bottom 5 situation because you guys aren't subscribed. Consider subscribing, it helps me out and it helps you out too, because you're gonna get more videos like this. Thank you. Moving over to the next team, I have the Minnesota Twins, and this one's for a little bit of a different situation. I've been against what this team has been building for the past few years. I always seem to be lower on them than the average person for this team. But this year, it's even worse. I think that this is one of the worst situations in sports. I absolutely hate what they are building right now. Unlike the Padres, the Twins farm system is pretty good, headlined by Walker Jenkins, who might be a real star down the line for the club. They also have 3 other top 100 prospects, so the future isn't looking too bad there. But I feel like the Twins are playing on the line of competing and rebuilding for the club's good. And what that means is they should be rebuilding, but instead of doing that, they're choosing to live in a constant state of mediocrity. That doesn't work. This is why the Yankees have not won a World Series in 16 years. They're good enough to not be a bad team every year, but they haven't rebuilt enough or committed to a rebuild enough to be good enough to not fill up their issues with band-aids. And what I mean by that, especially with the Yankees, when they have a problem, they just go out and sign an aging veteran that's not going to help them long term. That's the band-aid approach to building a baseball team instead of improving the farm system and building a sustainable winner like the Houston Astros did. This is something that the Minnesota Twins have been doing year after year, I feel like, but they don't have New York Yankee money, so it doesn't even work as well as it works for them. Byron Buxton, Joe Ryan, and Pablo Lopez should all be traded. By the time that the farm system is going to be able to produce real MLB talent at the MLB level, these 3 guys are going to either be off the team or just bad because of age. Joe Ryan is not going to re-sign with Minnesota, and if he's going to, they should extend him right now, and if not, they should trade him. It should be a trade or extension before we get into a situation where the Tigers are at with Tarek Skubal, where they might have to trade him because now they can't afford him because he's too expensive. And like I mentioned, when a team can't see that it's time to start going into a full rebuild, that scares me a lot. You have to commit to a rebuild in Major League Baseball, and if you can't commit, it's not gonna work. You're gonna continue to live in the limbo that I was talking about. The Twins also have a real health issue that they are completely failing to address. Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton are not reliable enough because of health issues. I know that Byron Buxton played almost all the games last year, I get that, but that's the first time he's done that in his entire career, literally. Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton are not on the field, and you expect them to carry an offense. That's not even possible. Who else is even good on the offense? Matt Wallner and Ryan Jeffers? Like, they have some potential, but they're not going to carry you either, especially if Buxton and Lewis are out. The rotation is solid. It's actually above average in my opinion, but again, 2 of the guys in it you should be trading for pieces to help better your future, but instead of that, you're not doing that. The bullpen doesn't even have enough arms to get you through the season, it looks like, according to the depth chart on MLB.com. Please just trade Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez and bolster the lineup in the farm system. Your window is closed. It's been slammed shut. It will not open back up until Walker Jenkins breaks out. Please, trade these guys. You already traded Carlos Correa. Why wouldn't you trade the other guys as well? If you want to keep Joe Ryan and extend him, that's one thing. But Byron Buxton and Pablo Lopez are already old. Extend Joe Ryan and trade the other 2, or trade all 3 of them. That's the only way to get better. The third team on this list, it's going to be a team that I'm not going to spend too much time on because it's the Colorado Rockies. I don't need to explain why the Colorado Rockies are in one of the worst situations any baseball team has ever been in. It's really freaking obvious. Ever since the Rockies traded Nolan Arenado, everything has gone off the rails in the worst possible way for this franchise. Last year, they were one of the worst teams in the history of Major League Baseball. This year, they'll probably be just as bad because they literally have no talent. And I'm not even saying that in like a super negative way. Who do Rockies fans look forward to watching play baseball? Is it Brenton Doyle? Like Hunter Goodman now? He was really good, but who else? Zach Veen, do you still believe in him? Even Michael Toglia, like, he should have been pretty good. They just DFA'd him. I don't even know who you expect is going to be good on this Rockies team. Good news, they really only have one bad contract, and the bad news with that is this guy literally doesn't play baseball anymore, and it's Kris Bryant. I honestly forget that he's even on the Rockies every time I think about this organization. The Rockies are also so bad that they don't even have a farm system. That's not even good. Even with the worst team in baseball on paper, their farm system is still bottom 10. They didn't have enough talent to trade away in the first place, so they haven't made good trades. They don't have anyone to trade. And the one guy that they did trade in Nolan Arenado, they got Austin Gomber and gave up $50 million. I don't understand what this team thinks it's doing. The GM and the owner spends more time answering fan emails than calling agents and trying to sign new players on the team. Remember when the owner of the franchise responded saying that Juan Soto didn't want to play on the West Coast or something, and that's why they didn't pursue him? Yeah, I'm sure that that's the reason, right? Mr. Montfort, that's the reason? No, the reason is because you're not going to spend money, and Juan Soto's not going to go to the Colorado Rockies. It's not going to happen. You've destroyed the franchise. It's basically impossible for the Rockies to sign talented starting pitching because, well, no one wants their career numbers destroyed because of playing at Coors Field. No one in the entire world except a hitter. There is a built-in ceiling with the Rockies because, again, no pitchers are going there. No pitchers are willingly going to the pitching graveyard that is Coors Field. I mean, what future does this team have? They develop no one, they sign no one, and their owner is an idiot. And they don't even put an effort in. When they do find talent, they trade them for literally nothing and have one of the worst trades of all time. Hunter Goodman, enjoy your time in Colorado before you're traded for a bag of nothing and you go and be a good player somewhere else. I don't know. The Rockies are obviously in the worst situation in baseball, but I don't need to tell you that. Moving over to the fourth team, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. What has happened to the once great St. Louis Cardinal franchise? Even the Pirates are threatening more than the Cardinals right now, and that is just an insane sentence to say with my mouth. The Cardinals have already started trading their pieces. They already moved off of Sonny Gray and got a solid return, and that's really solid for them, but they need to keep going. They need to move more people with talent. Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Brendan Donovan, those people all need to be traded. Maybe even Lars Nootbaar, but it doesn't really matter who they trade because they need to fix their farm system. Their farm system is ranked 19th in baseball, but in my opinion that's a little misleading because outside of the superstar prospect JJ Wetherholt, it's pretty bleak in my opinion. I need you to trade away all of these veterans. It's so important. This is an offseason that could absolutely destroy the next 10 years of this franchise, or it can really help fix the rebuild and accelerate the rebuild process. I'm actually pissed off looking at this pathetic payroll. They're projected under $100 million before even moving Arenado and Contreras. And what's crazy, those are the only two players under contract on the entire roster. There isn't even one player past their rookie contract other than those two in the entire organization, and they're going to get traded. Everyone else is on a rookie contract, arbitration, or a pre-arb deal. Every single one. And just 7 of those players are even in arbitration on the 40-man roster. This is insane to look at. You gotta choose a few players this offseason and pay them because you're paying no one. If you like Mason Wynn and Ivan Herrera, those are your 2 franchise cornerstones, pay them now. You have to pay somebody, and you also have to go out in free agency and sign 2 to 3 starting pitchers and hopefully get them on 3 or 4 or 5 year deals and allow them to continue to work towards a winning future. This situation is pathetic, and I really don't even know how it happens to a team that is as prominent and realistically such a good franchise like the St. Louis Cardinals. The Sonny Gray trade is a start, like I said. Keep it going throughout winter meetings, move off of Nolan Arenado, and set up your franchise for future success, because right now, you guys are a mess. And finally, the last team that I'm going to be talking about here is one that I'm a little conflicted on, but I'm going with the Texas Rangers. Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, and Jack Leiter is a pretty great start to a rotation, but deGrom and Eovaldi scare me because of the age, contract values, and injury history. If they can stay healthy, it's a really good rotation, but it's just as likely that both of them get injured, and this franchise has nothing. The bullpen might be the absolute worst in all of baseball, except the Colorado Rockies, of course. They don't even count, they're so bad. And also, losing Adolis Garcia and Jonah Heim just feels off to me. Huge parts of that World Series team just 3 seasons ago are gone for absolutely nothing. And that just feels like bad vibes and a bad kind of way to set up the franchise for further success. I know that those two guys had not been the same guys that they were in 2023, but you got nothing for them? That just sucks. Outside of Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, and Brandon Nimmo, I guess, this is a pretty risky offense. Jake Berger, Jock Peterson, and Josh Young could be good for sure, but the floor on this offense is really low. The ceiling is pretty high, but the floor, it's bad. They're shopping potentially, I don't really know. I've heard reports about it throughout the offseason. They're maybe shopping Corey Seager, and that's obviously the best player on the team. And if he's gone, I don't know what they have. I really don't know what they have to look forward to. Everything else here is concerning as well. The farm system is ranked 26th in baseball, so they don't have good prospects. Trading Seager might be something that is actually needed because of the farm system. When you're rebuilding, you really have to have a good farm, and they just don't have that, and I don't think that they really have pieces to trade outside of Corey Seager. And in the farm, outside of Sebastian Walcott, everyone else is really just not great. It's time to make a few trades and start rebuilding for the Texas Rangers, in my opinion. They are a very, very old roster, and that just doesn't really work long term, especially when you're looking to cut payroll in 2026. Right now, they are 11th in total payroll, and that's not too bad, but almost all of their money is completely guaranteed long-term contracts. And that is bad. They're 8th in guaranteed money for 2027, 13th in 2028, and then 2029 is top 10 as well. It gets a decent amount better over the next few years, but again, they don't have the prospects to supplement the losses that are going to go down with the payroll decreasing. I would start to rebuild if I was the Texas Rangers. I don't think that they're in a situation that is going to set them up for winning anytime soon. Reset, go out, rebuild. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like to share the video to more people. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.